Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unboxed. So glad that you joined us today. Let's kick off another week with some exciting subjects. All right, so it's been all over the news. We are, as you already know, for the last year and a half, we have been in the heart of a global pandemic known as COVID-19. And there's just came out some news today about the FDA approving the new vaccine. And there's been a whole lot of conversation on social media about what that means, what new restrictions may be put in place, a whole lot of that. And so for the past several months, there has been heated debate, as you know, around whether or not to take the vaccine. Before that, there were heated debates. So, we Americans, so we love having heated debates. There's been heated debates, around wearing the mask and social distancing and whether or not you can prevent churches from having services at full capacity and all those days. And as I share with you today, the FDA approved the Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine. And so, of course, now the whole debate is going to begin around whether or not we should mandate people taking the vaccine, mandating that they can't travel on an airplane without the vaccine, or they can't, go to restaurants or grocery stores unless they have the vaccine. So you can imagine that this thing's really about to really rub some folk the wrong way. And it's going to get pretty deep. So one of the things is that mature leaders, especially within your organizations, you're going to have to address this. And I want to give you some tools today on how to address this from a mature standpoint. So let me start off by saying, before we even get into today's show, I am not a medical health professional, and I do not know enough about chemistry and scientific research to give any advice on what you should or should not do regarding taking the vaccine. That is something that you're going to have to do your own research on, think about, and have a serious conversation with your healthcare provider. Talk to your doctor, not the man that is on the Unboxed show, okay? I am not a doctor, not a medical health professional, and I'm not giving any medical health. I want to talk to leaders about how they prepare their organizations to move forward in this crisis. And so I want to talk about how we develop mature leadership to address this whole issue. And what does mature, authentic leadership look like in the face of a pandemic? So today what we're going to do is we're going to unbox mature, authentic leadership while developing workplace rules and having discussions about vaccinations with others. Stick around. I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach, and welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life. All right, welcome back again. So glad to have you here. Before we get into the subject deep, please do me a huge favor. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share, and hit the alert button if you're following us on YouTube. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Hit the alert button so you can know that when we're going on live, you can get the latest updates. All right, and if you are listening to this in a podcast, the website that you want to check out is www.swg, seasoned with grace, swg-unboxed.org. Again, that's swg-unboxed.org. You can learn about all the wonderful services that we provide for leaders and for organizations, workplaces, and businesses. So here are the principles. I've come up with three of them. Here are three principles I think that leaders can use as they think about how to navigate and how to discuss the vaccine. All right, the first kind of principle that I want to share with you, or the first kind of rule, whatever word you want to use, that's your prerogative, is this right here. Listen. That's right. Number one, listen. Listen to the opposing view. And as you listen to the opposing view, determine whether or not it's rational or irrational. Because, and I want to go a little deeper in that, because sometimes there are things that are rational but incorrect. And there are some things that are irrational but correct. So the first thing I want you to think about is determine if it's rational but not correct. And then what do we mean by that? What do you mean determine if it's rational or not correct? What I mean by that is this. If someone comes to you and says, I'm not taking the vaccine because I believe that this is a ploy by aliens from outer space to, drug the human population so that they can take us in their spaceships and transport us back to Valderon, in order for us to be their slaves on a planet that's, 50,000 light years away or whatever. You say, okay, maybe this person is not thinking straight, but for someone to say, hey, listen, there's been some questionable things that have happened in the past as it relates to America's coziness with corporations or whatever it may be, or an African American who says, hey, there's been a lot of medical apartheid in America. That's not irrational for someone to say, I am very concerned about how America treats African Americans in its medical and in its medical practices. And so I'm skeptical because I don't believe that, America would tell me the truth. That is irrational. It may not be correct, but it is at least rational. And so when you're talking to someone that is rational, well, if you're talking to someone who is irrational and is ludicrous, talking about going, space aliens kidnapping us, then don't argue with a fool. And don't argue with someone who really may be suffering from mental health issues. And I'm saying that very seriously. You don't want to get into an argument or debate with someone who may have mental health issues or someone who is irrational, because all that does is just, lower the whole dialogue. And but if it's rational, if it's something that someone is saying that's rational, that's founded on history and or current facts, then you need to listen and discuss in a calm, intelligent manner. And, it may come to a place where you just say, we have to agree to disagree. And I have a lot of people, and I don't share with folk whether or not I've been vaccinated or not vaccinated. That's no one's business but mine and my healthcare professional, and mine and my doctor, rather, But debate it in a calm manner. Get yourself in the right place. Number two, the second rule is no name calling. Name calling and sarcasm are signs of being emotionally fused with the person or with the subject. So don't give someone that type of control over you that they have, they work you up to such a place, and they have, manipulated your feelings to such a way. You have allowed them, people can't do it without your permission. You've allowed them to manipulate your feelings to such a degree that they have control over how you respond. And now, you're responding with sarcasm, you're responding by name calling. And I've seen a lot of that on social media where people, mock people who are anti-vaccine and people mock people who are pro-vaccine. People who are pro-vaccine are just too ignorant to think for themselves. They're letting the government and, the pharmaceutical company tell them what to do. People who are against it are stupid. They get all their information by sitting on the toilet and scrolling through Facebook posts. If that's the way that you're engaging the conversation, that's very immature, and you need to back up and get more into a thinking place. Also, when you start getting to name calling and sarcasm, it creates a more anxious environment. And there's nothing really positive that can happen in an anxious environment. So no name calling, no sarcasm, no gaslighting. All right. Number three, if you are the one that has to make the final decision for your organization, then as you think through it, make sure that whatever decision you make aligns with your belief system. So number one, listen to the opposing views. Listen to the opposing views. Number two, no name calling. And number three, if you have to pull the trigger, if the buck stops with you, make sure that what you're doing is based off of your guiding principles. And leaders who have to make difficult decisions can create a calmer environment if they start with their guiding principles. If you start with your guiding principles, rather than laying down the hammer and saying, these are the rules, people like to hear what you believe and how you arrived at your decision just as much as what the final decision is. Because it really does help to lower the temperature when someone says, this is how I came to my conclusion. This is how I came to my decision. I thought it through. It was rational. And here is what the final decision is going to be. The final decision may be, hey, listen, we're not going to employ anyone who's not vaccinated. The final decision may be, hey, listen, we're going to leave it to each person. We're going to require masks and social distancing. It may be, hey, we're going to continue to work from home. You'll have to think through that. But it needs to be based off of, your guiding principles rather than just being reactive, being emotional. And you need to share what your thought process and guiding principles are with your team, rather than just saying, I'm the boss, I'm the head man in charge, you're going to do what I say, is my way or the highway. Because what we want to do is we want to create a calm, non-anxious environment. as we lead as authentic leaders. Listen, I'm so glad that you joined us today. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. Check out our website, swg-unboxed.org. And I look forward to seeing you the next time as we continue to unbox the power and the potential of your leadership, unbox the power and the potential of all relationships. Take care.
Seasoned with Grace, Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.